Arsenal. Right, I want to talk about Jorginho. Bolu, or Bolu A,
Hello.
are you there?
Hi there, Mr. Allcott even. How you
Hello,
doing?
mate. I'm good. Let's talk about Arsenal. Let's talk about Jorginho. Let's talk about this Edu out nonsense that I've seen on Twitter today. Please tell me that you're not using that hashtag today of Edu out. So if anyone doesn't know, because Arsenal are going to sign or have signed Jorginho, right? Have they signed him?
Yeah, we have signed him.
We have signed him for 12 mil, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, 12 mil, yeah.
12 mil. They signed Jorginho. Fans want Edu out. Thoughts on this, Bolly?
So I'm clearly not Edu out. I think they've both done a great job, Edu and Arteta. I can understand the sort of resentment towards the Jorginho signing because he doesn't seem like an Arsenal type of player, if that makes sense. He's not particularly mobile. He's not particularly sort of the most physical, but technically I think he's superb. He's great on the ball. So yeah, I think it suits Mikel Arteta. He seems to have been an admirer for quite some time. So I don't really doubt the signing. I think if Mikel Arteta wants him, then I'm happy. But I can understand that we've been chasing Caicedo for half of this window, it seems like. And it feels like with El Neni, the injury, I think to him, the long-term injury has forced our hand to sort of rush to get a midfielder.
Yeah.
That's resulted in Jorginho.
So yeah, with El Neni out, so for those who don't know, he's got an injury and he's going to be out for a good few months. So that does hurt you somewhat. So with the Jorginho thing, I've got to say it makes complete sense in the right games for Jorginho to be a part of the team. Now, if anyone hasn't seen it, go watch the Man United reaction. I think I speak about it there. And the thing we were talking about is the way that they utilize the midfield area of the pitch. And probably find it for you quickly. But the way they use the center of the pitch, all you need is a great, not deep line playmaker because you're not going to play deep, but what you would get from Arsenal and from Jorginho in this team, it makes complete sense to me against the lesser sides where you're going to be playing against a low block and you want to control the game. Now, you might get done on the counter-attack, but the way that Arsenal play and the way that Partey plays. Now, Partey, for whatever reason you want to go into, if he wasn't available to play for Arsenal and Jorginho comes into the team, are you going to see it here? Where is it? Partey's a little bit deeper here. I might be able to draw it on here because they get into different positions. Jorginho, often you need a pivot player who can get on the ball, but he has generally always got players around him. If he's in this area, he's got 1-2. He'll have Saka out wide. He's got options all the time. They're so well drilled, and so well drilled that as long as you've got a player who's quick with their mind, is a 3-touch player. If you have that player that sits right there, which Partey does time and time again, and has all these options to pass to, you're going to be absolutely fine. Forget the 5.
Yeah,
because that's
I agree.
He's going to be absolutely fine. And I think he'll run it. He'll run the game. He'll move the ball quickly. The one concern you would have with him is defensively, in defensive transition, where he could get done. But the difference actually with that is the fact that the way that Arsenal defend, you bring in your fullbacks a lot of the time, don't you? So he'll have a bit of help in the centre of the pitch. So he won't be alone there, really. They kind of leave the spaces out here and out here.
I think comparing him to how he was at Chelsea does a bit of a disservice compared to how our system works defensively. You'll have the 2 centre-backs behind. You'll have Zinchenko and Ben White on either side of him. You'll have sort of Odegaard supporting him slightly in front. And we're going to be going for the Prem and the European... so the Europa League. Yeah. And I think in the Europa League, I wouldn't particularly say that the quality of the teams there are too scary for an Arsenal team. I think Barcelona, Manchester United, maybe Juventus would say the most threatening teams still in it.
Yeah.
So I think that he would suit playing in that Europa League, giving Partey some rest, playing against lower teams in the Premier League, and just he does the passing well, he does interceptions well, he does tackling well. He's not the great sort of most mobile for blocks and the other defensive aspects, but I think he does what we need him to do for a year and a half. So
I totally agree. I totally agree. And I think the difference is this isn't. I think there's a bit of a feeling of William Gallas, other Chelsea players that have kind of gone over there when it's not been going. Petr Cech. No, it was the other way around, wasn't it? No, it was that way around. He did it right, didn't he, at Arsenal, to be fair to him. But I think the thing is, especially Willian, the most recent one, Willian went in when the club was in a real mess. And it didn't work with him, and they got rid of him pretty quickly. The difference is Arsenal will dominate 90% of their games now. They have such a clear pattern of play. And if you take Partey out and you put Jorginho in there and you have the ball 60, 70% of the time, it might tweak it a little bit, but especially against teams that play a low block, I think he'll be of huge use. And you're right, the Europa League, even the fact of the respite that you would provide someone like Partey while still being able to control and win games, you take out Partey from those Europa League games, save him for the Premier League games, let Jorginho focus on that. And again, I think it just gives you huge control. And he's got Zinchenko with him, Ben White with him, defensive solidity around him. He's not actually going to be in a double pivot with fullbacks bombing on like he has at Chelsea, where you then get that little bit more exposed. I get that, you never like to buy a player from a London rival, but I think it's really, really smart.
I think that's what's put people off the most is the fact that we're sort of giving money to Chelsea again. And, it seems that the 6 purchases I think we've done from Chelsea have been players over 30. And it feels like people are fearful of repeating the same mistakes like you mentioned with Cech and Willian. But I think we have to trust Edu and Arteta. They've gotten us to first. And, we have to just trust in them again.
Absolutely. And do you know what? So I'll tell you what, because I might clip this up and put this out otherwise. So if you haven't seen the live stream, I've asked this question to a few different fans, and I'm going to ask it to you, Bolu.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through the squads and we've asked who are the future of their club. And some clubs have a lot of players. Leicester City didn't have many. Aston Villa had a few more. I think we did the same with Man United. They had a few more. Let's have a look at Arsenal. Run through this team.
This is going to be a long one.
How many players do you think should be part of the future of the next 3 or 4 years of Arsenal? Because, sorry, just to set this up, because I know where this is going. I did a video, find it on my channel. I said it's going to take till 2023 for Arsenal to sort this mess out when it came to contracts and things like that. And sort of suggesting that you've got to give Arteta and Edu that moment of time. They are massively ahead of schedule for me, because for me, it was like they're going to have to sort out this mess, and it'll still take them a little bit from there to go and actually possibly win something. But yeah, run through it now. As an Arsenal fan, how many of these players are you bang on certain are the future of the club?
Bang on certain, right. So I'd say Ramsdale, Turner,
he's gone Turner.
Tierney, Gabriel, Kivior, Saliba, Ben White, Tomiyasu, Odegaard, Vieira, Smith Rowe, Saka, Jesus, Nketiah, Martinelli. So I think that's 17. If we're talking about 2 to 3 years, I could see the likes of Trossard, Nelson, Marquinhos, Holding, Partey, Elneny and Xhaka, Jorginho moving on in the next 2 to 3 years. But we're talking about 17 players I think I could see us with still in definitely 3 years time.
Counted the 17 really quickly. That's amazing if that's correct. And that's it. I think that's why it's sort of... And do you know what? This is the thing, is that there are a few players that you've missed out on. The Mudryk, the Caicedo, but you might be able to add that. We've got this in red. This is still an area where Caicedo would fit into that spot there, and maybe be the success.
I think Rice will fit that role.
Declan Rice as well. Yeah.
Declan Rice is. If we get him, I will be over the moon. So,
are you relieved that you didn't spend that money on Caicedo, or are you disappointed that you didn't get him? And would you have spent the 80 or 70 million or whatever it might have been?
I would have been, if we spent 80 million and it meant we didn't get Declan Rice in the summer, I would have regretted it and I wouldn't have been happy. If we sort of bought Caicedo with 80 million, I think would have been the maximum I would be happy with, and it still meant we could get Declan Rice, then I would happily have paid it. But I'm fine with this being as a backup option. At the end of the day, if Brighton don't want to sell him, they don't want to sell him. You can't force them to do so.
Well, yeah, and you don't want to embarrass yourself either by wasting money that you could use.
Yeah.
There's always another player. I really do think there's always another player.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And that is a long old stream we've done here, guys, but I've bloody enjoyed it.